I guess that's the best I'm going to get. All right, let's go with, we're going to throw on our green screen first. Turn off the whitetail deer first. All right, we're just going to wait for a few people to show up. We'll get started with Clint's Critter Chats. Right now, we're going to be talking about the white-tailed deer. So I hope you guys will come in for sure. We're just going to give it a little bit of time. I know it's Father's Day, which is actually a rough day for me. So, yeah, guys. Let's see how this goes. What's up, everybody? Happy Sunday. Happy Father's Day. Welcome into the chat. This is Clint's Critter Chats, where today we'll be talking about one of my dad's favorite animals, the white-tailed deer. So come on in, everybody. We'll have a good conversation about the white-tailed deer and the copperhead pit viper. How you guys doing? For right now, we're waiting on a few people to show up. Then we'll start Clint's Critter Chats. All right, thank you for the like. Thank you so much. We're going to be starting out today talking about the white-tailed deer, and then we're going to move on to the copperhead pit viper, which we actually have 3 species of copperheads here in Southeast Texas, which I'll get into here in a little while. For right now, why don't we go on ahead and get started? All right, guys. So, as you all know, the white-tailed deer is actually a species of deer that lives here in America. Now, we have a couple species of deer, but the whitetail is the most widespread deer in America. They come in actually a lot of different sizes, depending upon where you are in America. Like if you're here in Southeast Texas, you got an average big old boy like this with a thin, fine coat who has, a nice, decent build to them. They can be about 200 pounds at a big one. But you go up north and they're much larger. You can actually get a white-tailed deer that's quite a few hundred pounds. Hello there, my baby. Welcome into the show. Everybody, this is Jen Holder, my girlfriend, so go check her out at @JenHolder976. Don't forget to go subscribe to her. But, yeah, guys, so the white-tailed deer. Your average white-tailed deer, the males are called bucks, the females are called does. They have their rutting season between September and November of every year. They grow antlers in the they shed their antlers after the rut, and they grow some more during the spring, which those antlers, when they first start to grow out, guys, and it's only the bucks that have antlers, but when they first start to grow out, they'll actually be covered in this velvety skin-like substance that feels really neat. It's really super soft. But anyway, whenever they go to enter the rutting season, they will do what's called a rub, which is where they'll take those horns and they'll take their head and they'll rub it up against, they'll rub it all up against the tree limb like that and everything. They'll get all that velvet off of those antlers. And those antlers will harden, guys. And then they'll be able to take and use them for breeding reasons. The bigger the antlers and the farther out the spread, the more points they have, the more nutrients that the deer has been getting. So it's a healthier deer if it's got a bigger, wider spread. And you'll actually get more meat off of it. But guys, I have seen some old deer with no back teeth that have a huge rack on their heads. So a good 13-inch spread is a good way to go. If you see a deer with its antlers sticking out past its ears, that's usually a good sized buck. It's usually very well nutrient rich. So go on ahead. If it's hunting season, drop that big old boy. But now let's get on to the does. Guys, does are an essential part of any deer population. They're the majority of the population at all times. The females will always outnumber the males. And the reason being is because although deer run in herds, and you'll have some young bucks that live on the outskirts of the herd, you'll always have one big male that controls a large harem, that controls at least a 5-mile territory. Now, all those little males, they're there in the group. They're usually nomadic. They kind of travel around. They hope to catch a female or two alone, but mostly it's one big male if you have a large herd, and he'll have a harem. And the smaller males can just circle around out on the outskirts and just try not to get too close until their antlers are big enough and they got enough huevos to challenge the male. Now, the females drop their young around, what did it say? All right, yeah, that's right. They drop their babies around May. So that's whenever you start to have infants. And the young are absolutely adorable. They come with these little spots on their fur. Those little spots help them to hide in things like tall grass and stuff like that, guys. And they're little. Whenever they're first born, they're little. Like, they're little bitty. And they're absolutely adorable. But they grow up quick, like really quick. Within 6 months, a deer is half the size it's supposed to be. So they have to grow fast and have to develop fast. So that way they can get away from predators. Because there's a lot of things that like this tasty little pile of veal right here that's curled up. That's why you have these big guys to protect them. And yes, the buck will occasionally protect a young fawn in his area and the doe that is its mother. Because that buck doesn't know if that child is his or not. So he will actually take and defend them. Deer have about a 5-mile territory that they explore. The females are mostly nomadic. But the males patrol a specific territory. And if the females enter that territory, man, they're all over it. They are all over it. So, guys, when it comes down to the white-tailed deer, most of the foods that they eat, they are grazers. They will eat grass. They will eat acorns. There's quite a few foods out there that they will munch down on. Hold on a second, guys. I got a message. Aw. Damn, my girlfriend sent me a message. What's up, RoadTuber? Gotta hide. All right, thank you, man. Give me just a second, everybody. The monster I've been drinking this morning has finally kicked in. I will return from the restroom. Until then, enjoy the picture of the deer. All right, guys, sorry about that. I have returned. Hope y'all didn't mind me being gone for a minute. Anyway, guys, what's up, Axel? So, yeah, back to the white-tailed deer. Nice. But anyway, so the white-tailed deer, guys, the populations are thinning in certain areas. And there's even certain states that are starting to consider them endangered, guys. There are a lot of people who hunt the white-tailed deer. Mostly my dad hunts them a lot. He really enjoys hunting whitetails. That's his favorite thing to do. And guys, they make great hide. Our ancestors used to depend on these animals, to be able to make sure that they could feed their families and everything, guys. So the white-tailed deer is a real big part of American culture. Has been since the Neolithic era. All right, guys? These animals are fascinating. They're strong. They are fast. They're omnivorous, believe it or not. Most of the time, they're herbivores. But I have seen videos of them eating snakes. Yes, I study a lot of this information, but a lot of this information I've already had. Guys, being a hunter for as many years as I have, 30 years, I've learned quite a few things about the white-tailed deer. Also, I've worked with the Texas Parks and Wildlife before as a volunteer. So I've learned quite a bit on that too. But yeah, I do a little bit of studying just to catch up. and then I go on ahead and let you guys know what's up, RoTuber. But anyway, so back to the information here. So yeah, guys, they can range from a gray, almost a slate bluish gray, to this nice buckskin color that everybody knows of, this nice little rusty red tan color. And man, I've even seen one that was jet black, and that's how old it was. You know, the older they get, the darker their skin tends to be. So when you get an old deer, he might have a black coat, or he might have black somewhere on it. Other than that, he'll be like really dark gray, you know, guys. And they make great leather. The leather's very soft but very durable. You know, their meat is some of the leanest and best you can actually have out there. You know, white-tailed deer are a population of animals that are prey, but at the same time, you see those points? They ain't messing around. You know, not only that, they bite. They bite hard, and their hooves are very, very sharp and pointed. So whenever they go to attack, the males actually have two little spurs on the back of their hooves that are even sharper than the front hooves. And they can actually take and kick straight out like they're palm punching you and hit you with them little spurs. And guys, that'll rip you wide open. I mean, wide open. And their bite is insane. They actually, for a prey item, they have a 200 pound per square inch bite force. That's a lot of power to be able to chomp down with. That's good enough to break your arm if they wanted to. You know, so you gotta, guys, deer can be dangerous. You know, those antlers are no joke. If they decide they want to get at you with them, they gonna get at you with them. And one of the interesting things about deer in general, all around the world, is that the antlers have been used as weapons and digging tools for centuries, guys. The Native Americans used to use deer antlers to make, you know, basically a punch dagger where all you had to do was just cut this end off, cut that end off, and have a prong sticking out right here. And you could bam. And that little weapon right there was capable of punching through even sheet metal, guys. I've tried it. I've done it. I can punch through sheet metal with a dead gum deer antler. It is insane. You know, so those antlers are stupid strong, which is why they make really good knife handles too, guys. But the whole situation and spiel here, guys, is that the white-tailed deer is not only an integral part of the U.S., you know, ecosystem, but the white-tailed deer is also an integral part of any ecosystem. It's a keystone species. If you get rid of it, everything that it eats will go nuts. You know, unless you have something to replace it with, which unfortunately down here in Southeast Texas where I live, it's being replaced by the feral hog on a regular basis. Because deer, if they have something new that's entered their territory, like a hog, they're not going to fight for that territory against a whole group of hogs that can literally rip them to pieces. Instead, they're going to go nomadic, and they're going to find a new territory to inhabit, which for does is pretty easy. For bucks, that can be an issue. And that's where we get a lot of animals that get hit on the side of the road, guys. You know, and especially around here, you see males get hit a lot more than the females, and it's because the rut makes them stupid. These animals go insane if they smell a female. To give you an example, my dad was hunting one day, and a doe ran out in front of him, so he dropped the doe. Right behind her, another buck come running out. He drops that buck, and then right behind that buck came another buck, and he dropped that one. Those two bucks ran right into the sound of gunfire because they wanted that female. So my dad got 3 deer in one day, you know, at the same time, literally within seconds of each other. He only had to fire 2 more times after he dropped them, and that was to make sure that 2 of them stayed down. You know, guys, so these animals, you know, the males don't always use the common sense, but the females are smart. They're very, very smart. They're very, very resourceful, and they will definitely take advantage of any situation that they can find to be able to hide or get out of somebody's sights. But the white-tailed deer is probably one of the main food sources for majority of the predators in this area as well. I kept trying to say hyenas. Hyenas do not live in America. But the coyote, the mountain lion, the bobcat, even the American alligator, all of these animals take the white-tailed deer and use it for food. It takes a big American alligator to want to do it, though, unless it's a bait. But when it comes down to a full-grown adult, a bobcat, little bitty old bobcat, I say little bitty, but it can still weigh a good 30 pounds. A 30-pound bobcat can drop this girl easy. I've found carcasses left over behind. And not only that, but you've got cougars. They immediately jump on these guys and bite them right on the back of the skull, immediately killing them. And they become dinner. But it's definitely one of those things that these guys are constantly in fear. That's why when it's so difficult to hunt these guys. They've got a great sense of vision, they've got incredible hearing, and they've got a great sense of smell, guys. Their sense of smell is almost as good as a hog's. Not only that, but their sense of hearing is better than a dog's, better than a wolf's, to be precise. Their eyesight is almost equivalent to a hawk. I mean, aside from being able to see that far, they're actually able to have binocular vision and see straight ahead, which is something that most prey animals can't do. If you look at most prey items, their eyes are on the sides of their head so they can have a 360-degree view and see basically everything around them with not a full 360, but they have a small little blind spot in the back. But that's why most prey items get approached from behind by predators. And in the case of the white-tailed deer and the coyote, you'll have a group of coyotes that will corner the deer. One coyote will distract it, usually the alpha, while another will sneak up behind and tear the Achilles tendons out from underneath the animal, bringing it straight to the ground where the coyotes can feast all on their leisure. But unfortunate for the deer. But anyway, guys, that's just some information about the American white-tailed deer. Maybe one day I'll go into more in-depth video on it. But right now, let's go on ahead and let's move on to the 3 species of copperheads that exist here in Southeast Texas. All right, guys? So let's go on to the copperhead pit viper. Now, guys, in case y'all didn't know, this is a copperhead. You can see why they're called copperheads. Copperish, rusty color tone to their heads. Typical sign of a pit viper, this vertical peel here, which allows for more light entry to hunt at night. These guys hunt small prey. They usually don't get very big. But these eyes are designed mostly to hunt at night. You can see the nostril right here, which, yes, this is a nostril, but it's vestigial. It's mainly for breathing. There's no way it can smell using it or anything like that. These are pit vipers, guys. Unfortunately, this image here did not show the pits very well, but they have a beautiful coloration to their skin. I have a walking staff over there that I've been making that is made with an eastern copperhead, which is this species right here that I'm showing you. And we have the eastern copperhead, the southern copperhead, and the Osage or western copperhead. That is what lives here in Southeast Texas in my area. So there's 3 different species. This one right here happens to be an eastern copperhead, which was the one that I killed to put on my staff. I also ate it, so he didn't just die in vain. He was dinner too. All right. Now this is the Osage copperhead or western copperhead. This is the one that you see the most running around out here. They're very timid, for a pit viper. Most people, when they think of vipers, they think of snappy, snappy, bitey, bitey. But these guys are not like that, okay? The Osage copperhead or western copperhead or eastern copperhead or southern copperhead, all these species would rather just lay and hide in leaf litter. That's what all this beautiful coloration on their bodies is for. Because when you see these guys in nature, they're hard as heck to spot. This is a good example. All right. You see right here, you see right here, you have the nostrils. And then that secondary hole right below the nostril is the heat sensing pit. That is what allows the copperhead to be able to have a literal 95% accuracy on her strikes. Every single strike is on point, and it's because both of those heat sensing pits gives the snake a huge range of vision. Not only that, but it can narrow it. It can narrow that vision down to a precise location and strike in that exact area. Kind of almost like having its own scope, you know, but guys, these little dudes, they're so hard to spot. You know, when they hit that leaf litter, poof, they're gone. So you really got to pay attention to these guys. Not only that, they don't get terribly big. The largest one in Southeast Texas record was killed in Beaumont here not too long ago. And that's the copperhead. That is a huge copperhead, guys. That is a world record breaker. So this western copperhead was killed in Beaumont, which is not far from where I live. And that snake for a copperhead is god-awful massive. I mean, like, dang. I've never even seen one that big myself, and I've been catching them for a long time. So, yeah, guys, you know, here's another good example of that vertical pupil, how it allows for better light to come in. You see how you got it getting a little bigger right here? That right there means that there's low light in the area, and the snake is trying to see better. These guys like to be nocturnal, everybody. They really don't like to move unless it's already dark. And it's because their main predators are things like bighorned owls, barn owls, hawks. You know, there's a lot of birds that like to eat these little guys because they're basically just one long piece of protein-packed spaghetti, you know, and they can literally just chomp it down. They ain't got to rip it up. So there's a lot of birds that hunt copperheads. And there's a lot of copperheads that hunt even birds. And as you can see, guys, they're gorgeous. They're absolutely a beautiful snake. So they were hunted for a long time for the color of their hides. You know, guys, they almost went extinct because people wanted that coloration. Mostly a lot of Victorian era women wanted them for purses and wallet straps and small belts and things like that because they loved the pattern. And guys, unfortunately, if you pretty in nature, you endangered. You in danger, all right? Because us humans like pretty things. And the copperhead is a beautiful snake. Not only that, it's a very docile snake. I've actually stepped dead center of one's body once, and it did not one time even attempt to strike me. He was just sitting there like, don't see me, don't see me, don't see me, don't see me. Because these guys would rather sit still, and you just walk past them than they would to ever strike, guys. These are one of the less snippy snakes I've ever seen in my life. You know, they would rather save their venom for food, you know, or an absolute last resort. So you really ain't got to worry about these guys biting you so much. Now, what do these guys eat? Well, that's pretty simple. These guys eat mainly a diet of frogs, small mice, small birds, any small mammal they can get their teeth around, big frogs, you know, lizards when they're little. You know, these guys pretty much eat anything they can actually bite and swallow. You know, so I've seen one, you know, sitting there swallowing a mouse out in our backyard one day. I sat right there and watched him the whole time. When he was done, I picked him up and I put him out in the lot behind our house. You know, so he could just go on about his day because he took care of a pest problem. So these guys are also a keystone predator species. And it doesn't seem like it because of how small they are. But guys, a copperhead eats about 4 to 5 mice a month. They actually have one of the fastest metabolisms of any snake that's out there right now. You know, they have a really hyper-fast metabolism for a small little critter. But it's because they are so tiny. You know, they've got to be able to keep that body heat up, and they've got to be able to keep their energy going because they burn it out so quickly, guys. They're not a really fast snake either, unless it comes down to strikes. Now, to be honest, though, they are the #1 snake to bite you here in Southeast Texas. And the whole reason for that being people don't see them. They walk right over them. You know, they pick them straight up because they think they're something else. You know, they'll see the babies and think, oh, that's adorable, and then snap. You know, so you really got to pay attention. You know, guys, a snake is still a snake. unless you can identify it and know for a fact it's non-venomous, do not do what I do and play with them. Do not catch it. Leave it be. But guys, leave nature be anyway. You know, guys, I catch only certain animals and I let them go right where I caught them at. So they don't have to take and explore and find their old territory or anything like that. I let them go immediately right where I caught them at. You know, guys, I just catch them, make sure they're healthy, make sure they're happy, and send them on their way. You know, if they're not, I'll take them home, try to nurse them back to health, and then take them right back to where I let them go at. I'll make sure to mark the spot. But, you know, how many babies did these guys have? How do they reproduce? Well, first off, copperheads do a wrestling match to be able to determine who is able to mate with the female. The female is usually larger than the males. You know, so the males will do this little slithering dance-like wrestling match where whoever gets pushed over is the loser. And the other male will literally climb on top of the loser and will hold him down for a little bit of time and then slither off, you know, after mating with the female. But the females will, depending on the species copperhead, either lay a very light, easy, leathery skinned egg that they will guard. They'll lay up to about 20 of them, to a dozen to 20 of them, and they will guard those. And then when those eggs hatch, babies are dinner. Now, there are a couple of them that reproduce, you know, live young. The eggs hatch on the inside of the body, and the mother just simply spits out a womb with a baby snake in it. You know, and these little guys, when they're born, they have a brightly colored tail that they wiggle as a lure, just like a just like a water moccasin does. And there's a lot of snakes that will do that. These guys before have also been called the spread gnat, even though there's no adders that live here in Texas, or in America for that matter. Adders are a Middle Eastern snake. But however, people have called these guys the bush adder, spread natter, you know, a few different other kinds of names. But also the puff adder, because they will puff up and try to make themselves look bigger. Doesn't work for people. It just makes us look ridiculous. But anyway, guys, you know, I would have to say that these are probably one of the most successful snakes that's here in Southeast Texas. And the reason being is because it's so easy for them to just disappear. You know, and that's what they like to do. They like to stay hidden. You find a copperhead, you found his hiding spot, you were looking for something. You know, guys, it's very rare to catch them just out and about. You know, you'll find them most of the time under logs, under rocks, under tin, under plywood. You know, they're going to be hiding in leaf litter or up underneath something, guys. They really don't want to mess with you, and they don't want you to mess with them. As far as how long it takes for the growth rate, in about a year they reach adulthood. These guys don't grow super fast because they tend to stay hidden a lot. However, 6 months, they're already ready to breed. You know, by the time they've been alive long enough for breeding season to hit, after hatching season, which is typically between early June and August, you know, during hatching season, when these little guys hatch, by the time their first year is over, they're ready to mate. You know, and so these guys reproduce fairly quickly for a pit viper. But anyway, guys, you know, that has just been a little bit of Clint's Critter Chat. You know, I hope you enjoyed the basic information about the white-tailed deer and the copperheads that live in my area. So we're about to jump straight into the hangout. Give me just a second. I'm going to go get me a drink, and I'll be right back. Sorry about that, guys. I had to refill the drinks in the fridge. You know, we got a basic rule around this house, which is if you empty out the drinks, you refill the drinks. All right, guys, we're going to go back to our normal screen, and we're back to our normal show. Jen, you still here? How about you, RoTuber? All right, guys, it looks like I'm all by myself, so I'm going to wait a little while to see if anybody shows up. If nobody does, we're going to go ahead and end the show. I didn't expect there to be very many viewers today anyway. It is Father's Day. So, guys, I hope y'all enjoy y'all's Father's Day. You know, guys, it's an amazing day. It's kind of a rough one for me, though, to be honest. You know, not being able to have my sons, just every year it's torn me up. Every year when their birthday comes along, every year whenever, you know, it's Father's Day or Christmas, anything like that, man, it gets rough. It does. But hopefully one of these days, I'll get to have Elkin and Jamie in my life. I don't know how Dad drinks that crap. Well, anyway, so we're going to be taking here real soon. When next month hits, after the 3rd, we're going to be getting ourselves some more propane. We're going to be finishing this bad boy out. So yes, this is a hand-forged blade. I'm almost done with it. You know, we just got to stretch this out a little further, bevel this out, and stretch out this tang a little bit more. And we've got a full-fledged Viking sax. I've already got the handle for it. I just need to get my hand guard and my pommel ready. And then we're done with it. We're ready to actually make it into a fully functional, 100% usable combat knife, which is based around a Viking sax. So I hope you guys will definitely come join me for that. You know, we also have our walking staff. We cut both ends off of it, and we're going to be starting to shave it today for afternoon hangout. So I hope you guys will come join me then while we shave off the bark off of this thing and get it ready for the next project, which is going to be up for sale, guys. So this one's going to be going up for sale. So if you want to, you know, it's going to be awesome to see how this turns out. The first staff we're going to make is going to be our cheap staff. So this staff is going to be probably about $30, $40. You know, it's not going to be very expensive because there's not going to be a lot done to it. You know, it's mainly just going to be shaved into shape, and then it's going to be drilled, have a lanyard put through it, and then maybe a hand grip put on it. And then that's going to be about it, guys. So it'll be about $30 along with the rubber stopper going onto the bottom. And that's really just to pay for my materials and shipping and handling, you know, guys, because you also got to cover shipping and handling too. You know, so I do apologize for that. But it is a starting business. So when I start out, I've got to charge a little extra money. But once we get going and we can get up off the ground, I might be having walking staffs for as cheap as $10. It all depends. You know, guys. Shut, go on, baby. Shut, go on, baby. What you want? You already had food. You had water. What you want? You already been walked. No. Go sit down. Baby. Shut. Go lay down. Go. Go lay down. Go lay down. Thank you, baby. Sorry about that, guys. My dog's wanting a little bit of attention, but he knows he'll get it here in just a little bit when the show ends. So, guys, I want to thank everybody for showing up. You know, I didn't expect very many people this morning because it is Father's Day. You know, so I hope your Father's Day is going great. If you haven't seen your dad just yet, make sure you see him sometime today, or at least give him a phone call. I know he'll really appreciate it. You know, guys, so don't forget your father today, man. Don't forget it. Because I'm telling you right now, he'll never forget you. You're his kid. You know, and even parents who have problems with their kids never forget their children. You know, so Father's Day is a big, big deal for a dad, especially. We don't have very many days as men that we are celebrating. Father's Day is one of those days. So, you know, kudos to every dad out there. If you've got your kids with you, give them a huge hug. Tell them how much you love them. And make sure you do that every day. You know, guys, you always want to support, especially your children. You know, supporting family is important, but your children, yeah, guys, those are the most important to support because they're your legacy. They're what's going to bring on the rest of your family line. And guys, if you treat your kid like crap, they're not going to want to do it. They're not even going to want to talk about you. So, guys, remember, support your family, support your loved ones, support your kids, especially, you know, because they might end up resenting you if you don't. And that's the last thing I want to happen to any of my viewers. All right, guys? So, how's everyone doing this morning? You know, how's everybody's Sunday starting out? I hope everybody's having a good day at church. I know I'm not in church. I'm a pagan. So, you won't catch me setting foot in a Baptist church at all. But anyhow, guys, you know, welcome into the show. Thank you all who showed up and gave me the 9 likes for Clint's Critter Chat. We have already talked about the white-tailed deer. We've already talked about copperhead. We're now in the hangout session. So pop on in and say hi. Let me see if there's something wrong with my chat. No, it appears like there's nothing wrong. Okay. Guess nobody's just said anything lately. All right, guys, that's fine. You know, if y'all want to, pop on in, say hi. You know, come join the conversation and be a great part of the show, everybody. You know, if we don't have any responses by the time we've hit 45 minutes, I'm probably going to go on ahead and end the show. All right, guys? But thank you all for joining me. You know, welcome in on this beautiful Father's Day. I hope y'all are having some great weather, just like we are down here in Southeast Texas. You know, it's been a rough morning for me, guys, because I miss my sons. I wish I had them by my side, but I don't. You know, and that's unfortunate, and I'll just have to get past that. But I get to focus on my dad. You know, so not only are we finishing up our Viking sacks next month, but we're going to be starting 3 new knives at the same time. They're going to be smaller, so they should take a lot less time to make. I'm going to make 3 hunting knives. Now, one of those is going to my dad for Father's Day, and the other 2 are going up for sale. So I hope you'll definitely check that out as I show you step-by-step process of how I'm going to forge these blades out and turn them into something awesome for my dad and for you viewers. There are going to be 3 hunting knives. One's to my dad, one's to the rest of you guys. So I hope that y'all enjoy it. They'll be a little pricey. You got to remember that. They're going to be a little pricey. You know, and it's because they're hand forged all the way through. Everything is handmade. So it's going to cost a little bit of money to be able to get these items, guys. But the good news about that is once you buy it, it's a lifetime thing. Your family will have it in the household for forever, dude. You know, I don't make anything that is cheap, okay, guys? But unless it's a simple walking stick. If it's just a simple walking stick, yeah, it's cheap. But you're covering shipping and handling and give me an extra $10, and then that's about it. So I hope you guys will come and enjoy the show when we start working on the walking staff that we're going to be making here later on this afternoon. We're just going to be shaping it up, which means shaving off all the ends where there used to be a branch or any wood knots or any lumps. We're going to shave those all down smooth, and then we're going to round the top off, and we're going to put a stopper on the bottom of it, guys. And then it's just simply drilling a hole, throwing a lanyard through it, and throwing a hand wrapping on it. And guys, it'll be up for sale and ready to go. And whatever is given to me out of these purchases is going to go towards my friend Eunice and my uncle, who has created a charity. My uncle created a charity by the name of Friends of Village Creek. So if y'all can, please go to continuetogive.org and check out the Friends of Village Creek. You know, guys, Friends of Village Creek State Park is the exact way of saying it. So go check them out. And if you would, please donate so that we can keep our wild, pristine areas wild and untouched. All right, everybody? So also, if you wish, you can go to Knight's Sanctum, which I'm going to throw that up here real quick. Hang on. Give me just a second, guys, and I'm going to throw this up here. All right, start poll. All right, so there you go, guys. Now y'all know where to go to donate. Oh no, I lost all of my chat. Hang on. Oh well, but guys, the donations are going to creating a school. Well, giving an already existing school the materials they need, and going towards keeping a state park as pristine and wild as possible. So I'm getting none of this money. This money is all going to charity, guys. Even though I need to make my own living, I'm literally making my first items to go towards an important cause. So, guys, if you would, go on ahead, throw us some donations. None of it's going to me. All of it is going to dear friends who absolutely need it. Miss Eunice is a teacher in Nigeria. I've seen her classroom. I've spoken with her headmaster. It's a legit thing. So we're not being scammed by a Nigerian prince who needs money. So no, that's not happening. We're actually supporting a school in Nigeria, Africa, that really does need our help, guys. The last donation that they got was simply 3 pencils, a pen, and 2 markers for 37 students. Guys, I'm trying to get them $200 so that she can actually get as much of the supplies as she needs for her school. Guys, and also if you wish, you can always go take on today's afternoon episode. I'm going to leave up my email address. You can always email me. And if you want to take and donate any items towards Miss Eunice's school, or donate any kind of money towards taking care of Village Creek State Park, then guys, I would really appreciate it. I'm not asking for myself. This is for other people. I can't stress that enough, that this is to go help children get an education and to help preserve our wild, sacred areas. Guys, I grew up on Village Creek. I grew up literally running through those woods. And now that it's a state park and it's protected, I'm so proud that I got to see majority of it before they shut most of it down. Guys, and that's unfortunate they shut most of the park down, but at the same time, it's great too, because now you don't have so many people going through there, polluting the area. We had a wildfire out there not too long ago because some teenagers went out and started a bonfire, got drunk, and decided to throw a whole bottle of Everclear onto the fire, and it got out of control. So that is what this money is going to take care of, is going to take care of that part. My friend Eunice, to make sure that her students can actually get a good education. I'm hoping to be able to get them some textbooks, is what I'm trying to do with this $200. So let's see what we can do. We're shooting for $200 for the Friends of Village Creek and $200 for Eunice's school. All right, guys. So if you would, please go and donate, and let's try to help these people out. This is what the Knights of the Holy Rose Sanctum is all about. So guys, let's try to make sure that the next generation gets educated right. Let's try to make sure that the next generation has got a beautiful, pristine habitat where they can go see wildlife and they can go enjoy themselves on a weekend or something like that, guys. So thank you all so much. For anybody who cares to donate, it would be very much appreciated. Like I said, I will reiterate one more time. None of this cash goes to me. Every bit of this money will be going to Miss Eunice and to my uncle for the Friends of Village Creek. So thank you all so much for anything that you can donate, even if it's $1. Any little bit helps. Anyway, guys, I've got to run to the restroom again. That's what I get for drinking so many Monsters this morning. I drank 2 big ones. But I will return, and I'll talk to y'all in just a second. right, guys, I have returned. Sorry about that, but when the bladder calls, the bladder calls. Let me see something here. I don't know why my messages ain't showing up. Why are they not showing up? Oh, well. Anyway, guys, I cannot see y'all's messages if y'all are saying anything, so I do apologize. Anyway, thank you all so much for the likes. We've got just a few more minutes left in here, just 13 minutes left. And right now, we're asking for donations for the Friends Village Creek, and we're asking for donations for my friend Eunice's school in Nigeria. You know, I'm in contact with the headmaster, so I know that this is actually a thing. You know, it's not a fake situation. This is not a scam. We are actually going to be helping kids get an education. You know, guys, and that's what the Onyx chapter of the Knights of the Holy Rose Sanctum is all about. Education around the world. So, guys, if you wish, when you do a donation, if it's going to be for the Friends of Village Creek, I want you to put Emerald Chapter when you go to donate. If it's going to be for Eunice's school, put Onyx Chapter before you donate. And that way I'll know which money goes where, and I can keep up with everything. So thank you so much, guys. You know, y'all are absolutely amazing. I hope that this poll goes well. You know, I definitely would like to check and see what it's going to be like whenever we get done. But hopefully we'll get a few donations in, and we'll be able to help some people out. You know, guys, there's nothing better in my mind than being a humanitarian. And the reason being is because we are all human. Every one of us. We all bleed the same. We just evolved to look different. That's it. But we're all the same species. So why hate on each other? Why not help each other? Why not be there to lift your fellow man up and give him a leg up when no one else will? You know, guys, that's the problem. So many people are so focused on just themselves that they don't realize that when you start helping others, you do help yourself in the process. You help yourself emotionally, you help yourself mentally, and eventually you will help yourself physically. I have this little saying, smile at the world and eventually she'll smile back. You know, guys, that's 100% true. If you smile at the world, eventually they're going to smile back. She's going to finally be like, okay, this person is actually nice. Don't be too nice, though. Don't let people walk all over you. You know, that is something that I've noticed that a lot of nice guys have a problem with. Sorry, I got something in my teeth. Mustache hair. Mustache hair. Dang you, mustache. But anyway. And damn you, Dr. Pepper. But it's all I got to drink. So, anywho, you know, guys, again, welcome in. Happy Father's Day. I hope y'all are all having a great one. If you are a dad yourself, congratulations, man. I hope you have a wonderful day. Enjoy yourself. Make sure you don't have to do a daggum thing. Make sure that, guys, if you have a dad and you're going to see him this afternoon, make sure he doesn't have to do anything but sit in his favorite recliner and look like a daddy. You know, make sure he doesn't have to do anything else. You know, guys, because dads work their asses off. They work hard to make sure their families are taken care of. You know, they do everything they can to make sure that everyone around them is okay. You know, and then they put themselves last. And that's a good man. That's a good father. You know, that's just how our world should honestly be. But, you know, guys, we've got so many situations now, especially like with what's going on here in LA. You know, right now, guys, the LA riots that are going on right now are ridiculous. You know, these people are angry because we will not let illegal immigrants be here. Not going after the ones that are legally here. We are literally going after the ones that should not be here. You know, and they're getting so mad about this. You know, I don't understand this. Why are people protesting against us taking care of our own country? You know, and hopefully ain't nobody here got to deal with that. Hopefully everybody in my chat is having a nice, peaceful existence. You know, guys, because politics is one thing that I've noticed can cause so much drama and so much pain and so much struggle and so much strife in your life that it's not even worth the effort. I mean, it really isn't. The only thing worth the effort is literally to learn the new laws that are coming out. And that's it. As far as following politics goes, they all lying. They're all telling us what we want to hear, and then they're going to turn around and do what they want to do. You know, guys, they're not taking care of us. They're not here for us. Never have been. You know, they're there for a paycheck, and for a dang good one, too. You know, guys, have you ever seen how much a politician makes? They make as much as a CEO. You know, guys, and they ain't a CEO of nothing, really. You know, half of them fall asleep during the majority of the meetings. So I'm of the firm belief that we should just completely clear out the House. We should completely clear out the government and restart from ground zero. Because we've got a president now that's trying to declare himself a king. We've got riots in the streets. We've got, you know, wildfires up north. We got flooding down here in the south. You know, guys, our country's in some serious trouble right now. And people are not wanting to take the time to do the patriotic thing, which is finally all of us together as Americans stand up, tell the illegals, get out, and then go to our government, tell them, get out, and then replace all of them with people who actually care. Replace all of them with somebody who actually is going to take the time to understand the Constitution, to know the rights that you have, to know what this country was founded on, and honestly do what Trump is claiming to do, which is make America better. You know, guys, we used to be one of the greatest countries in the world. Now we're not so much. You know, guys, and we've got people that are literally demanding that they get to come over here so that they can make more money. Guys, that's not how it works. You've got to immigrate the right way. Even if I was going to another country, guys. Like, let's say I finally got to move to Sweden, like I've always thought about doing. Sweden or Australia. So let's say I got to go to one of those two areas. First off, Australia, I know the culture. I don't have to learn anymore. I can even talk the lingo there, mate. It's no problem whatsoever. I can disappear right into a crowd with no issue at all. You know, it's no big deal there, mate. But anyway, you know, so being able to learn the culture, learn the lingo, you know, be an immigrant, not an illegal. And then you won't have anything to worry about. Because we were founded on immigration, as long as it's done right. You know, guys, and these riots and everything, these people demanding that we're evil for telling them that they have to pack up and go. No, guys, I'm sorry, you're breaking the law. It's nothing about, it has nothing to do with who you are. It has nothing to do with your culture or anything like that. It has everything to do with you broke the law. And that's pretty much it. So, yeah, I don't understand these riots that are going on right now. I don't understand the thought process behind these people. You know, just go home. Do the process right. Come back. That's all you got to do. But people don't want to take those steps. It seems too hard. And, you know, guys, that's why I am trying to help out my uncle with the Friends of Village Creek State Park, and why I am trying to help out my friend Eunice with her school. Because, guys, life is hard. Life is a struggle. Life is pain. You know, and that pain can either make you into something great, or it can break you into small little pieces. You know, guys, I always say all the time, you can't live without the fire. It's the heat that makes you strong. For like steel, pain can temper you. However, it can also break you. It can make you brittle. So you gotta deal with that fire just the right way. You got to be able to have that mindset of, I'm a winner, I'm a queen, I'm a king. I'm gonna make this my life. You know, guys, and that's what you gotta do. You know, it sounds complicated, but it's simple. It's real simple. You wake up and you choose, today's the day I'm gonna be everything I was always meant to be. And you start working on it. You know, guys, I talked last night about finding your place in the world. And guys, that's a huge deal. Finding out who you are and what you want to do, even if you're not the best at it, as long as it makes you happy, who cares? You know, guys, as long as it's what you want to do, as long as it gives you the life that you're okay with, where you can wake up every morning and instead of going, oh, I got to go to work, you can wake up every morning and be like, who? Where's the coffee? Where's the Monster? Where's whatever I need? I got to go to work. You know, and you got a big grin on your face from ear to ear, guys. That's the American dream. To be able to wake up every morning and be like, I've got a home, I've got property, I've got family, I've got a good animal. Now it's time to have the right job. And then you go out and you make a wonderful life for yourself. But pursue your passions to do it. That's what I call for. Pursue your passions to be able to make your life as wonderful as you want it to be. You know, guys, give me just a second. I got to go grab my meds. All right, everybody, I'm back. Let's take these little buggers, shall we? Nasty drink, nasty pills.
Ew, excuse me.
Gross. Anyway, welcome into the show, everybody. We only got about a minute left, so I do apologize for that. I hope that a few people decided to donate. You know, it would really help out. You know, guys, I'm trying to get this charity going, and I can't get it going if I can't get a donation. You know, guys, so I hope you guys wouldn't mind. I don't even care if it's 50 cents. Something will help. You know, we're trying to help out education in South Africa or in Nigeria, Africa, and we're trying to help out with the Friends of Village Creek State Park here in Southeast Texas. So those are our two charities we got going on right now. All right, guys. So I want to thank everybody who showed up. We've only got 30 seconds left in the show. And then I got to go prepare for my own Father's Day, where I can take and make sure my dad is going to have a good day. But anyhow, everyone, I'd like to thank you all for being here. I'd like to thank you all for any comments that was left. I'm sorry I couldn't read them. Got rid of my comments as soon as I put up a poll. So, guys, love y'all. Definitely will check y'all again sometime soon. You know, please come on back. I hope you hit the like, share, and subscribe button, and you decided to stick around for the show. If you did, thank you so much. For right now, this has been Clint Gage with Clint's Critter Chats, talking about the white-tailed deer and the copperhead, as well as having a nice, good hangout. So see you from the swamp, later from a gator. Love you, mama. Love you, papa. Love yourself. Be kind, and always find a way to help everybody. Check you all here, same place, same time, next week for Clint's Critter Chats. Don't forget, tonight we will be having a Black and Hills reading. So we will be reading from my novel tonight. So I hope you guys will show up. All right, guys, thank you all so much. See you next time.